Mm.
Too lazy. In the cut. In the cut.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? Hello, what's going on? YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, everyone that's tapping in right now. How's everybody doing? It is Wednesday, October 12th. I'm super excited for this episode, man. And it's been an amazing week thus far. We here. October is rolling through. Um, and this show tonight is special, man. We definitely have a special guest that I'm going to bring on very shortly. And there's not too many people that I get that I get to meet, and not only meet them, but not only are they able to meet them and have such a huge influence on the whole community, man. And I'm super excited about the conversation that we're gonna have tonight. But before we jump into the conversation, a few announcements for everyone that's tuning into the show. One, Thanksgiving is coming up, right? Next month, and I wanted to, for a way to give back to the community, and everybody in our community really. We wanted to, here at Live in the Cup Barbershop, we wanted to give out free haircuts. We're going to be doing that from the 8th to the 10th. This is in November. I just wanted to throw that out there, November 8th to the 10th. And really all you need to do is book an appointment. You could do that at inthecut.live. And, we'll take care of you. Not too many people. I know there's some people out there that really, they're going through some things. And, the least we could do is give a haircut, and bless it forward. So, make sure you come check us out at the barbershop. This Sunday, we happen to be closed. But with no further ado, right, the guest that I'm about to bring forward, right, if you guys know who David is, man, this guy is he is one, he could be anywhere in the world right now. He happens to be here with us. You could usually catch him sharing some amazing eats, amazing foods all over the world. Or you can catch him courtside. I've seen this guy courtside, at the Knicks and Nets games, and heavy on the basketball scene, super heavy on the basketball scene, and he's been in the kick game, some of the flyest sneakers for a long time. I'm sure a lot of you know him from that as well. And one of the biggest Asian influences in our community right now, and nevertheless, the comedian at that. With over 2 million subscribers on YouTube since 2011, man. He's been killing it. Him and his brother Andrew, the Fung Bros. So let's bring him onto the stream. My guy, David, what's going on, man? Welcome.
Yo, John, thanks for having me, man. I'm in the cut.
Let's do it, man. So, for the people that don't know who you are, I'm sure you don't need too much of an introduction. But I just wanted to, one, thank you for everything that you're doing for the Asian community, and two, thank you for being here, man.
No doubt. I mean, long story short, me and my brother are YouTubers. We're comedians, foodies. Like how it is on YouTube is like a lot of people do a lot of different things, right? But some people, they segment it out into different channels. For me, I find it more simple to just put it all on one channel. So you might find us giving political commentary to a food crawl, obviously showcasing wherever we're at, LA, New York, West Coast, East Coast, global, international. Or you might even see like sneaker reviews, like I said, heavy in the kick game. But now the kick game is so big, I got to emphasize we're almost like I'm more like a performance sneakerhead, like performance basketball. Like definitely the retro side from when I was growing up, but I'm not as keeping up with how it is nowadays. They release like 100 shoes a month now.
Word, right? And I feel you on the performance side, man. Standing up, cutting hair all day. As much as I would love to wear the Jordans, I'm just wearing whatever's comfortable at the moment.
Yeah. If you wear the ones to be fly, it's like you're gonna wreck your back because you're gonna need a backiotomy because it's just the ones. The ones really don't have that much structure. Like they have good traction, but it's just like a piece of leather with just a flat rubber on it.
I see people playing ball with the ones, and honestly, I give them the fly points. But man, I don't know how you playing ball in them.
No torsional rigidity or anything. No snapback, no energy return or anything.
So, but I mean, yo, how you doing, man? I know, you and your brother, man, you're always busy. You could be anywhere in the world, man. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, man. I mean, just out in the Lower East Side right now, and pretty much working on our podcast. Like I said, like we could be anywhere. I know that a lot of stuff is opening up in Asia right now, like less quarantine times. So maybe that stuff might be on the horizon. But I love New York City because when I'm not traveling, it feels like the world is still at my doorstep, because every country, I mean, the United Nations is here, and pretty much like every cuisine on earth is represented at least somewhat. It's so anywhere from somewhat to a lot.
1,000%. There's a bunch of food out here. Yeah, I'm sure you had your fair share of the Filipino food.
Definitely.
So, but listen, man, before the food, I guess, and before it all, kind of backtrack us on the beginning of your journey, right? Like, I guess even before YouTube, like what were you getting into before you got into the
Yeah. I mean, long story short, we grew up in South Seattle. South Seattle is like, it's a blue collar part of Seattle. It's like where all the basketball players, the rappers come from. That's where we came from. And I think my parents really wanted me to be, a doctor or a lawyer. But, like a lot of Asian parents do. But, the truth is those are great jobs. And that's great if you can do that. But that's not in everybody's path. You got to really love that. But I think growing up, we had such a love for sneakers, comedy, media in general, things that like you don't really see a lot of Asians pursue professionally. They might have a stint in it here or there. But in terms of being in it for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, like being able to feed their family off of it, there's not a lot of Asians in it. You know what I mean? Ultimately, so your parents are skeptical because they're thinking like, the only guy that was really big in like the 90s was Dante Bosco as Rufio. Like that was like the only gig you could get, right? But obviously since then it's just opened up like what 10x, 20x, maybe even 100x since then. But of course, at that time, when I was graduating college in I'm gonna say like 09, it was still like that's when YouTube popped up. So I was like pretty much gonna go the corporate route and use my business degree to like really, lock in and try to, Amazon or whatever. There's like a lot of great companies you could find a creative job in. You can work in marketing at, even Microsoft got a marketing department, right? So it's like I was like either gonna do that or just go full in on YouTube. And everybody in California at that time, all the Asians were really getting big doing YouTube. You know, you had like
Yeah.
Wong Fu, you had Tim De La Ghetto, you had JK Films, you had AJ Raphael. I mean, it's like countless. Jabberwockies was on ABDC. There was just almost like, I was like, oh man, all these Asians can do this for a living, right? Some people are funny, some people are serious, some people are talented, singing, you know, whatever. So I was like, you know what? This is my only chance. Otherwise, if I go in the corporate route, I'm just gonna like do that. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of Asians do that, right? You know, whether that they choose medical or whatever, you know, but like if you have the passion and the talent and the grind set for that new lane, even though it's unorthodox and theoretically there's a lower chance rate of success or reaching the upper echelons of it, and which I'm still chasing, then you got to just go for it. So I just went for it, and then made videos. There was an Asian YouTube boom at that time, and just, you know, made a lot of viral hits. Probably made like over the years, probably made like 800 million hits. You know what I mean? Like, not, and then hopefully, you know, like, I don't say that to brag, but it's almost like it comes from creating content that people want to watch repeatedly. You know what I mean? Whether it, like we say, you know, whether it's sneaker stuff or food stuff or cultural stuff or just MOS, just being funny, just going, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's just a love for it. You just love it so much because you want to make the content that you never, you know, got to see growing up.
Right. And so, you know, because many people don't get to see you behind what your skits and what you do on your YouTube page and social media. And this is a question I really love asking, but you know, if I were to ask you, you know, I am a comedian because, how would you finish that?
I'm a comedian because I just want to say what's on my mind, but I don't want to come across sounding too crazy. You know what I mean? Like, there's different types of comedians. Basically, there's two types of comedians. There's ones where they put the laugh over everything. Like those, there's actually a science to laughter. If I just build the tension and I pull the rug out from underneath you, it's a laugh. It don't even matter what the content of what I'm trying to say is. It's just a breaking expectation. You're just playing with tension like a violin. But like, there's another type of comedy which I'm more subscribed to, my style, which is more like content based, like some sort of truth or some sort of information I want to reveal to the audience, but the humor has to be there so you don't sound like a professor or a lecturer, you know, at a symposium. So those are the two different styles. Yeah.
I love that. And, you know, it's funny because I was looking at, you know, your YouTube, you had over 400 million views, if I'm not mistaken, over that since your inception on YouTube. And you guys had, you know, I don't know how up to date, you know, if you guys changed this recently, but it said two brothers seeking truth on your, on the about section. And it's funny because in on the show, like when I created the shop and the show, my I guess you could say my punchline was, you know, find your truth in the cut. And, you know, because as I'm cutting, you know, all these different types of individuals that have come from different walks of life, they're, you know, I'm learning from them, you know. And so many people is like, oh man, you have great conversation. Really, I'm just picking your brain the same way, you know, we having a conversation right now. And I've been able to find, you know, really shape myself as an individual, as a man, and learn from all these different individuals that I've been able to connect with, you know, and even connect with you because of our good friend Poon. You know, I've been cutting his hair, you know, for a long time. And, you know, literally from just different people sitting in my chair because of, you know, this God's gift that I've gotten to you know, cut hair. I've been able to, you know, find my truth in the cut, you know, to say. And it's so funny. I thought you know, when I looked at your YouTube, you guys had that as well. So I thought that was, you know, super dope.
No, for sure. I think that's what it's all about. I mean, it's like everybody's motivated by a different thing, but I find that that's the most sustainable way to be motivated.
So you mentioned you guys went viral, right? You had a bunch of hits. When was that moment, or what was that moment that you realized you went viral?
Man, I think I want to say like 9 years ago. This is like someone was like, yo, you're trending on Reddit and 9gag. And I didn't even know what those were actually at that time, because like I was just living in my own world, like creating my own stuff, and they weren't as popular as they are now. I don't even think 9gag's around anymore, but like Reddit is obviously as popular as ever been in 2022. But like 9 years ago. I didn't even know what it was, maybe 10. And like, I remember someone told me you hit the front page. And at first I was like, what does that even mean? And then they were like, oh, it's a big deal. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I think that's when I was like, man, if I could just, the ideas are there, and it depends on who you collaborate with. And obviously on the skit side, whether if it's funny music videos, it does matter the director a lot, because the setups and stuff like that is visual. But I think that's when I was like, I could do this for sure for the rest of my life.
Do you remember the video, or was it a video? Was it a
Man, it was a music video. It was a joke music video called "Wanking in the Dorm Room," and it was like kind of like Lonely Island style, because it was about two roommates that like they're trying to figure out how to like do the guy thing without the other guy finding out. It was comedic, and Lonely Island was popping at that time, and I remember everybody was like, "Yo, this is better than Lonely Island." Like, y'all killed Andy Samberg and his squad, and that's when even white people said it, non-Asians, because sometimes, of course, it's dope to hear from people, but when like people who aren't even into the Asian thing, they're like just off quality alone. I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that I'll ever, be as big as Andy Samberg, but like it just goes to show you that people could recognize the talent.
right? No, 1,000%. And so going, you say you went viral like 9 years ago, and but it's not obviously it's not an overnight thing, man. And I, I speak to a lot of early entrepreneurs. I speak to a lot of people that are starting up their business, and even myself being a shop owner and things like that. How many days off did you take before you felt that viral moment?
Days off, man, probably zero, to be honest. Like, because in that moment, until you just like feel like you're almost like you're just grasping for air. You just want to make it so bad, and especially there are rare windows, in your industry. Like, everybody's in a different industry, right? So there's windows that open and close, and I felt like we were in that window and we had to strike. You know what I mean? And even once we were in that hot zone, we still made mistakes, froze up, got shook by success, got scared, intimidated to put out another thing because we couldn't match the next thing. But I think that was the key, like when you feel that, you know what I mean? Like, that's how it's like you're built for the entrepreneurial game. Some people, they never feel it, but they can still have a good life and a good career at a job. You know what I mean? As long as they're consistent. But as far as doing your own projects and your own like painting on blank canvas, you have to be able to feel it.
Yeah, I mean, starting any business, right? Like even starting up a barbershop, man. I see, again, I compare this to like, for first year barbering, man. Like I didn't take a day off I didn't even take a day off my first 3 years. I was like, day off. In my mind, I was like, man, I'm launching a business. There's people, I'm launching a YouTube page. I'm launching my brand. I'm launching whatever it is. And, if the first thing you're thinking is a day off, man, it's like, I think you might be in the wrong industry. You might be in the wrong industry,
Yeah, you might want to think about like how passionate you are. Because a lot of people, they say, oh, that's my passion, right? But where's the work? Because if it's really your passion, you show the work, right? That I remember, Mark Cuban, the owner of the Dallas Mavericks and all his other tech investments that he did and companies he built. I remember he said, everybody says, follow your passion. He goes, I hate that wording that the teachers tell the kids, because I say, follow your work. Because a lot of people can feel passionate about something and they're not even good at it.
That's a fact.
And he goes, but how are you going to be successful if you're not good at the lane you're trying to be in? Yeah. Like, you have a friend who's passionate about singing. They're not going to be a singer. They just don't got it. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. So it's true, right? And that's why it's like, when you're thinking about making it viral, when you think about making it, and especially when you had, at that time, when you had that Me Too moment, you were seeing guys like AJ Raphael, Tim Delgado, these guys, and you had that Me Too moment. I'm gonna do this too. It's like, bro, I'm gonna do it until, because I see it. It's already been done in my eyes. Like, there's just no way else it's not gonna happen. But so, and you guys have been putting out, like, you guys have been. It's not like you guys have put the brakes on. Like, you guys, I feel like even more so now, you guys putting the pedal to the metal. As far
Yeah,
as
yeah.
content goes. And this is since 2011. So, or even before that, I'm sure. So, in this lifestyle that you created, as a comedian, creating content, what are some moments that you thought was like a win in your eyes in whether it was like a marketing plan that you did or
Mhm.
like a pattern in skits or things like that, and what was one that was like a loss that you were like, man, I tried this and it didn't work, I'm not doing that?
I would say a win was definitely documenting West Coast Asian culture. Documenting it and breaking it down from an outsider's perspective, being from the Pacific Northwest, that was a huge win because people were like, man, how are you guys able to break it down so good? You guys not even from here. And then I remember telling them that's why I am able to break it down, because I'm coming as an outsider with an outside perspective. I'm in it enough to be a part of it authentically, but I'm also outside it enough. You know what I mean? It's almost like a scientist studying something. So I think
Right.
breaking down Asian archetypes, particularly on the West Coast, but I think that obviously you guys had those same archetypes on the East Coast to a lesser extent, And then I think that was a big win. And then a big loss probably was, to be honest, probably making rap music, like really
Oh, word.
launching like a lot of the rap videos that we had paid for, and like because who doesn't, especially when you're in your 20s, you still want to rap. You know what I mean? That's like the coolest undistilled like masculine coolness that you can just have is rapping. So I think that I would say honestly, if I was to say it was an L, that never really took off. I'm not saying I didn't have a few music videos that were joking raps that didn't hit a couple million views, but as far as like being taken serious in the same way that like Rich Brian is right
Right.
now with the 80, no, that never was materialized.
I feel that, man. And going back to having a friend that's like not passionate in singing or not passionate in rapping, man. Again, as much as I would love to rap like as good as these dudes, it's just God gave me a different gift. He gave me another lane.
Right.
So real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's tuning in here from YouTube world. If you're on here on YouTube, Twitch, make sure you say hello. Let us know where you tapping in from in the chat. We'll definitely shout it out. And again, real quick, again, if you missed in the top, November 8th to the 10th, we'll be giving free haircuts for Thanksgiving. It's our way of giving back here at Live in the Cut for those who can't really make their way to come get a haircut. So
That's dope, man. Hey, dude, I love that. I love that you're doing that for the community, man. That's dope.
yeah, I mean, for me as a younger kid, I knew, I knew I wanted to be fly, but I also knew that I couldn't really go get a haircut at some of the more upper echelon barbershops where they knew the style,
Right.
they knew they were, and so for me, I'm just like, man, there's something there's something that I had to give, and this is just one way of doing it. So shout out to my boy Jude, Freddie. I see you on here, my boy. And if you guys are watching this on the recording, make sure you drop a share, drop a like, pay your chat tax while you're here. And I know we with the time and everything, I definitely have a few more things I want to get off here that I'm super like. I actually am curious about. One is I know you're a huge foodie and you've been to Woodside, to eat, and you've been to Little Manila. What's one of your favorite Filipino spots out here?
Oh my goodness, man. Erewhon. Erewhon.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay.
I really like there. This is like kind of a controversial thing. I'm about to say something controversial. Maybe it's not controversial. You tell me if it's controversial in the Filipino community. I like Max's a lot. I like
Max's.
Max's a lot.
Okay.
And like,
Yeah.
how some people are like, oh, that's corporate. It's, they have like whatever, 100 of them around the world or whatever. But I'm like, it's good. Like, I love the,
Nah,
I love the
yeah. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Max's too. Especially, again, I didn't grow up in the Philippines, but going over there is it's for me, it's something new. Even though I knew it was a chain restaurant, I was like, this is dope. They serving rice here at a fast food spot. Like even
yeah.
when I went to Jollibee for the first time, I'm like, they serving rice with their chicken. Like, yo, forget KFC, forget Popeyes. It's over. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So those are my two that I would say, because that one is like they only have one of them, right? That's mom and pop, family
mhm,
owned, and then the other one is the one with however I don't know how many they have globally, probably a lot.
that's dope. That's dope. And one of the last things I actually wanted to ask I'm super curious about is, as someone who loves playing ball, I model my game after a lot of point guards. I've been Some people tell me Tony Parker. I play my game is like Tony Parker.
Oh,
Some people say my game is like Deron Williams. Or in the Philippines, they call me white chocolate. It's the funniest thing. But
like
shout out
Jason
to Jason
Williams.
Williams. Yeah, shout out to Jason Williams. But if you were to model your game, after anyone in the NBA, past, present, who would your game be modeled from?
Oh man, shoot, should I give you like the answer that? All right, so right now, I probably play like I was gonna say maybe Devonte Graham right now.
Mm,
Devonte Graham, because there's a lot of pull up threes and occasionally some. If I'm feeling loose that day, I might try to bust out some combos, dribble drive combos, or dribble drive step back pull ups. But like in terms of history wise, do you remember this dude on the Raptors that really started getting good when he was like past 30, named Mike James?
Mike James. Yeah, bungees
Not
too.
the
He could jump.
yeah, kind of, but he was like he was known for having 20-point seasons at the end of his career. And he played on the
Okay.
Timberwolves, like with Troy Hudson and like Spreewell and stuff.
Okay. So offensively,
Anyway,
you
yeah,
there. Offensively,
yeah,
you there. That's what's up, man. And I seen you were playing recently. You were on was that the Brooklyn Nets thing going on?
yeah. Practice at the park. They do that thing at the pier, and it was cool to play against like Rotimi from Power and like all these. There were
Who
so
was
many
It
people
was
there from so
Trav
many
that was
different.
guarding you on that, right?
Yeah, Trav. That was funny.
That's what's up. That's cool, man. To see the NBA coming back. NBA season starting back up. I know the Knicks are playing right now as we speak. It's funny. I saw that same day where you were hooping. I saw. I don't know if you was the Nets the Nets there that day. No.
Yeah, the Nets, they showed up at like about 3:30. Yeah, a little bit later in the day.
I saw a video on the gram and it's so funny how they always catch this guy lacking. When they had Ben Simmons shoot a pull up and he
Oh my goodness.
bricked it. I'm like, yo, how they always catching this guy lacking, man? But I'm excited to see him. Are
I mean,
you
to be the pier is windy. The pier is windy. That's my only thing. I'll try to give him some slack.
Fair enough, fair enough. Anybody in the NBA, any teams in the NBA you looking forward to seeing this year?
I mean, absolutely. I'm definitely a big fan of the Nets, Brooklyn Nets, and but you know how it is. Like, I don't know how you are, but like, you just support good players.
Yep.
I love. So yeah, and you want to see everybody do well. Obviously, I guess as far as New York guys go, Jose Alvarado, sort of bringing
Shout
that
out to
like
Jose.
bringing the New York energy to the league. Almost like something that used to be more prevalent maybe in the '90s, and then it went away, and then he's still representing that to this day.
Yeah. I just seen him. He did that commercial for ALD, which was pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen it, but shout out to Jose. And in the '90s, we had. I mean, even that era was like we had from left rack. We had Kenny the Jet. This dude won 2 rings. We had Ron Artest at that time, so we had a lot of people from New York at that time, up and coming. So,
Dude, at one point, I want to say like all the point guards: Kenny Anderson, Rod Strickland, Marbury. Like everybody was from New York. Yeah.
Yep.
There was so many. Dude, somebody got to bring it back, man. I don't know why it all moved to Jersey or all moved to Long Island, but maybe it's just a space thing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I was just watching Drink Champs, and they had Shaq on there. Shout out to Shaq. He was on there talking. He's from Jersey as well, and he's also another person I look up to as far as business goes. and what he's doing outside of his NBA career, man. And similar to you, man, you guys have been killing it. Like I said, you guys have really been winning for a long time, and it's hard to, and it's like you say, you're still chasing, this certain level, man. But it's easy to overlook all our accomplishments thus far, man. So I wanted to give you your flowers and you and your brother in advance, man. But as we wrap this up, right? Where can people find you? And again, the things that you're working on, if you're working on anything new, that we could tap into.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate it. I mean, just type in Fung Bros on YouTube or Hop Hop Boys. That's the name of the podcast. Instagram
Hop Hop
there.
Boys.
Yeah, Hop Hop Boys. That's the pod. And we talk about all the things that are like, talk about some controversial things. I think at one point I was kind of scared about talking about those things, but I'm just like, dude, it's a short life that we live, and it can be volatile. I didn't want to ever feel like I was in a position where it's like, oh, I didn't get to say what I wanted to say.
I love that. I'm definitely going to be tapping into that. The podcast world is so, right now is hot, to say the least. And we'll definitely be tapping in, bro. So one, I appreciate you for being here. You could be anywhere in the world. And I look forward to seeing what you guys have in the works in the future, man. And hopefully we can hoop sometime sooner than later. And
for sure.
Make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, thank you for having me. I wish you, continued success with everything you're doing. And I love the movement, in the cut. Jive, thank you, bro.
Love, brother. I appreciate you. Everybody that's been tuning in, I appreciate y'all as well. David, we're going to catch up soon. And everybody at Live in the Cut will be here. We here every Wednesday, 9 p.m. And next week, we will have a special guest as well, one of our good friends. And also, repping for the Asian community, our good friends at Asia. If you ever looking to go literally anything outdoors, they're actually doing something really dope for Halloween. If you guys don't got any Halloween plans, I know they're cooking something up, but it's basically it's a campgrounds that they turned into. They got basketball courts. They have ATVing, canoeing, camping, and it's owned by one of my good friends and basketball coaches, motivational speakers, Emil Sarion. So shout out to everybody at Asia. So if you ever in the lower, if you're ever looking for a place to go camping or literally just while out and have some fun with great hosts, make your way to Asia, and we could play some ball. They have some really good, they got some really good Filipino food there too. And it's only about like hour drive out from here, hour and a half drive from New York. So it's amazing. And everybody else for tapping in, man. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys next week. Peace, brother.
All right, then, Jeff. Peace.
So, man, there was so much to wrap in that, man. I know the time was short, but there was so much to wrap in there, man. I truly appreciate when people really, when someone's really chasing greatness, you could tell there ain't no fluff in what's going on. And I can't, I'm praying that somebody watches this and is like, whether you want to be a YouTuber, whether you want to be you starting up a business, you starting up your own brand, these guys have been killing it, and there's really no other way to explain it, but they have been killing the game. There's not too many people that are living off just creating off YouTube and things like that, and there's so many gems to learn from these guys, and besides the fact on how great they are at what they do, that just on the back end, there's so much to learn from them, man. So I appreciate when people take the time out and let us. That's exactly what I love, to pick their brains, man. So if you gain some value from this, if you enjoyed this, drop a like, share this with your friends and family. I'm definitely going to be able to chop this up as well, and we definitely have a lot more guests lined up. And I'm super excited. This is for me, this is probably the most fun I've had, at doing these shows, man, because for me, this is how I learn, this is how I learn, man. And, like he mentioned, man, it's just never really a time, especially if you're chasing a certain greatness, to stop learning, man. So if you out there, man, and you enjoyed this, make sure you share this, drop a like. Shout out to everybody that tuned in live on YouTube. If you're watching this recording, follow us, give us a sub on YouTube. And again, free haircuts November 8th to the 10th. All you need is an appointment, book it. If you can't, if there's no appointments available, that means that it's all booked up. But we happen to be closed this Sunday. And for everybody that showed us love and support, I appreciate y'all. Truly love. And I'll catch you guys on the next episode, Live in the Cut. And hold on real quick. Definitely relate. Oh, yeah, Michelle, 1,000%. Definitely relate as an entrepreneur. Yeah, I mean, entrepreneur life is I have this conversation with my barbers a lot. And I said, do you think that barbering is a job? And it's a very controversial question because, a lot of people is like, they understand, especially old school barbering. It's like, it sounds like quick money, and obviously it's evolved over time. But if I'm thinking I need quick money, quote unquote, or money to sustain me for something, pay my bills, let's just say, right? Like maybe I just turned 18, right? And I'm out on my own. Maybe I'm 21, I'm out on my own, and I'm moving out of my family's house, or maybe I'm whatever. Maybe I'm still in my family's house, but I want to start supporting myself and be more independent. And the first thing I think of is like, hey, let me be a barber, or let me go be a lash tech, or let me go be a something in the entrepreneurial route. The first thing that comes to mind is that it's not a job, right? I'm not looking to make upfront money, right? Like if you needed upfront cash, if you needed some sort of capital, or something steady, quote unquote, because really, jobs aren't steady either, especially nowadays. But I've realized, it's not a job, right? Because at your job that whether it's you get a traditional 9 to 5 somewhere, you're gonna get paid for the hours you put in. But as an entrepreneur, you're gonna put more hours, and you're not gonna get paid for those. You're not gonna see that until maybe a month later, depending on what industry you're in. Maybe 2-3 months later, 6 months later. And that's you might not be able to handle that as an early entrepreneur. A lot of people quit their day jobs too soon and just go full on entrepreneur. But the truth of the matter is, entrepreneur life isn't for everybody. But there's a switch in your head that says, hey, I've seen somebody do something like this, whether it's starting a YouTube, starting a business, starting a brand, and your mind goes to that place where it says, man, if this person did it, man, me too. And again, when I first stepped into the entrepreneurial journey, that's the first thing I said. I said, hey, you know what? I might not make I might not reach my first, my huge goals that first month, that first year, right? Most entrepreneurs, businesses, they don't make their profit within their first 2 to 5 years, right? Depending on what business, especially traditional business. Right now, it's a little bit different. There's so many other businesses that you could start and gain capital up front. But the entrepreneur life, can't say it any better. It's really not for everybody. And I say that to say, one, don't quit your day job too soon, and number two, don't quit on a bad day. If you've been an entrepreneur for a year, guess what? You might be a year and 1 day before your viral moment, before your breakthrough. You might be a year and 1 month before your big check, before that big collaboration, before that big client, before that big, you know what I'm saying? And it's easy to quit on a bad day, but understand when you signed up to be an entrepreneur, you had a reason, you had that spark in you, and the distractions are gonna come, the naysayers, the no's, and all of that's gonna come. But at the end of the day, you got to stay strong. You got to stay, you got to stay sturdy with what you do, because again, if this is, you set your expectations that this ain't This doesn't work like a 9 to 5. This is not, hey, I'm gonna put 2 weeks in and I'm gonna get paid for 2 weeks, right? And it also bothers me when people you work you did work for 2 weeks. You didn't complain about getting paid for 2 weeks, but because you knew you were gonna get paid 2 weeks later, you were comfortable not getting paid. What if I told you, yo, a year, what if I told you, man, at year 2, if I told you the amount of money that you was gonna be making, you wouldn't even believe it. If I told you how many commas were gonna be in your bank account, you would have thought I was lying. So this is another episode of Live in the Cut. You're alive with Jive. It's always a vibe. And I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Michelle, thank you for chiming in. Again, if you ever see the recording of this, share it, drop a like, subscribe to the YouTube. Next week, we have a very great guest, real good friend of mine. And, this episode was great with Fung, with David from the Fung Bros, man. We talked a lot. We spoke a lot about, why he was a comedian. Spoke about his first viral moment, and how long it took him to get there. This guy didn't take any days off, till he got there. I didn't even know he was a rapper. He made rap music, to be honest with you. But we continue to put out, just like our good friends that constantly create, apparel, man. We gotta constantly create, and there's gonna be some wins and some L's in there, man. But you just gotta, keep creating as long as it's in alignment with what you do. So, again, I appreciate y'all for tapping in, and I'll catch you guys next week live in the cut. Peace.